It's obnoxious.
Okay. You see this little square?
Yeah.
You see that?
Yeah, there's Maya.
You're gonna have to move it in play.
Hey, Diane.
You have to swipe it to the left whenever it's go time.
Forgive me while I make me some popcorn. You okay, Dave?
Are you?
Dave?
Hey, Brittany.
Can Dave hear me?
Girl, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Is you cool? I'm right here, Dave. Stare at the screen. Don't keep looking over there.
Girl, leave
No,
me
if you got
alone.
something to get off your chest, that's what I'm saying. Like, let's do that, you know?
It doesn't matter.
That gum is quarter.
I know, you seen that. Like, I don't know who she thinks
He said
she
the
is.
gum. No one's on your side. He said the gum.
What? I'm talking to the comments. I'm talking to the comments, Dave.
Oh.
Yeah. So what I got to say is, you fix it right now. I'm not having it.
Whoa.
Oh man. Oh, my tripod stand came in just in time. For my iPad. Please hold.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. We waiting on Keon. Princess Keon.
You're taking too long.
Who taking too long? Keon? Okay, y'all. Today's conversation is about mental health. Overusing mental health terms. And then, of course, my usual, tidbits. I'm just waiting for more people to come in, and our girl Keon, when she feel like it.
Is Keon on here?
Nope.
Let me try to call her.
Whew, Lord. It's a heat wave down here, y'all, so it's a bare face. I was gonna say it's a bare face, but it's a bare face most days, honestly. What is that? There too? Man. Summertime shy. Great place until them buildings become a heat lamp for you. I just don't. I'm not a fan of the winter, but I do not know how to behave in the summer. Like I'm not going outside. I'm not doing nothing. Like it postpones any plans. It thwarts. Like it ain't that deep. No, thank you. I don't need to. If I had to go to the store for a quick thing, I'm gonna wait until I need to go to the store for like 20 quick things first. Okay, so while I'm waiting, as y'all usually know, I'm going to be outside. Oh man, I really I can't. I think that's a good thing. I really do. I think it's ridiculous that my whole plans are thwarted, but I cannot. It's too high. How are you outside? Like, I'm on fire. And my personality completely changes when I'm hot. Like, I don't know about changes, but it's not very friendly. Everything, I have like short patience for everything. Like, hurry up, let's get this over with, like it doesn't work out for me.
Keon is coming. We both have the same issues.
Right.
Every week. No, I'm talking about sickness. And Dash, you know what? It stops here before we go live. You know what I'm saying? Let you see my face. It stops here.
You look crazy.
I don't care.
Girl.
I want you to know how serious I am. It stops right now.
Hush. Fans, water, it was just 15 below zero. So we have to enjoy. Man.
So like you could tighten it like this.
I mean, I feel you, but them fans that they be selling, like they cute and all, but they just stir up like hot heat.
Thanks.
I need to turn my notifications off. Okay. Wow, we're waiting on Keon. So the blog that I wrote, if you go to labelmelegal.com, and click on blog, we're talking about the one that says we gave our kids a diagnosis before we gave them a chance. So we skipped last week, and then the one that's posted now is, I think it's about, are you a product of your environment? That's going to be a really good one. But anyway, so we skipped that one, and then we'll do that next week since we skipped last week. And then this one, I kind of wanted to talk. I think I saw a post because I wrote this like back in maybe April. I saw a post about, and I think I've seen multiple posts, like people have been complaining about just people overusing, like I'm tired of y'all using the word anxiety and triggered and trauma. And I sort of started like thinking about it because I also saw this post, and I think I talk about it in the blog, where, Meta, that might be another one. Meta had to shell out some money for, that was the social media one, for their effects on mental health. But anyway, I talked about that one because I felt like, there's Keon. I'm not sure what I just did. Hold on, y'all. I don't be knowing what I'm doing. Okay, I talked about that one because I felt like this applies to everybody. Like, not just, like, I targeted towards kids, but it applies to everybody. And I talked about, like, us too. Because everybody is using mental health terms, but I'm specifically talking about kids in the blog so that we can kind of focus on the kids are the ones who don't yet have the language for what they're experiencing, or they barely have the language for what they're experiencing, and yet we're giving them terms like ADHD. And my concern when I wrote this was like, not the posts that are like, oh, we overusing trauma and anxiety and all of that. My concern was like, we're overusing it, yes, but there can be two realities at one time. It is happening. And I don't want to dismiss that, but when we give kids a name for it, like, oh, I have ADHD, right? The question is, and the concern is, are we following up with that and giving them coping skills, resources to go get around what they're calling out, or are we just giving them a name for something to blame their behavior on and not adjust to society and rules and etc.? That was one of my concerns when I wrote this. So anyway, I waited long enough. We can get started. Hey, Keon.
Hey, is everybody allergies bothering you?
I feel like everybody.
Because they should sound stuffy.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. How y'all doing today?
Whew, it's hot. It's too hot. You got on that jacket. I'm hot looking at you.
It's cold in my house. It's 68 degrees.
Yeah, it's not happening here. It's like 76. Like, this is not a glow. This is like, what's that called when you hot? This is like dew, sticky dew.
No, I'm sitting under a vent and it's 68 degrees inside my house.
I wish. Shoot, I'm on fire. All right, y'all. So Dion said that this is going in and out. Is it going in and out for y'all?
Give us some feedback.
Hey, Marie. Dion is back. I just realized. Where you been, buddy?
Not on here.
Oh. Is that L1? What's up, L1? Okay, so Maya with the popcorn. What's your thoughts?
Now, why would you do that?
Yeah.
Because I always go first with answering my thoughts, so it'd be great if you go to yours. I had a long day. It looked like it, too. I had a long day. Me too. No, Maya, you look like you just left Pilates.
Right.
Now, let's go. I'm fresh. I'm fresh off the press with it, everybody. Ran down. Maya, let's hear it. Okay. I think, wait, did you ask a specific question before I just dive in?
I asked what I always ask. What's your thoughts on the blog first?
Okay, so yes, all the commentary is not needed. So I think when I read, like, I didn't read the whole thing honestly, but I read parts of it. Really, the last part. I think that a lot of it is correlated to or associated to social media. And I know we kind of got on this before, like how social media is ruining kids and their childhoods, but I really think it is a lot of it is social media induced, because we are always wanting to scroll and look at other people's lives, and then that comes with comparison, and then Comparison is the thief of joy, and then you get these kids that don't really know themselves, and they try to learn themselves through social media or through other people's lives, and at some point it just starts to get messy, and then now we have a depression diagnosis or anxiety or something like that, and really it's just, I think, instead of doctors like trying to put a diagnosis and get these kids medicines, because them mental health medicines, like those medicines that they give people with mental health, they are very strong. Like, instead of fixing a problem, it's almost like you become another person because they're so strong. Like, they can make you feel like a zombie almost. And I know this because, one, I studied it, but two, I know people that have been on medications, and
Why Keon laughing?
I don't know why Keon is laughing, but
Who you know?
I'm not even talking about you. I'm not even talking about you, but since you started laughing, that's what made me laugh.
I always want to air all my business.
No, that's what made me laugh, because I wasn't talking about her. But my point is, I think it's correlated to social media a lot of times. And I think that they're putting diagnosis to these kids too young, even with autism. Like, he may not be autistic. He may just be behavioral, or he may just need a little extra attention. But I think that it's getting to the point where they're diagnosing these kids so young, and that carries with you, like, for the rest of your life. Like, that's going to stay on your medical records.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point, Maya. I would say, just from like a personal standpoint, I do feel like there is a strong amount of education that's occurring in the world, and there was a time where we missed that diagnosis, where they should have been labeled anxious or ADHD, and we missed it. I just think the way we're going about treatment or interventions could be concerning, because to me, every anxious person, every person that has that diagnosis has it's something in them that you seen in them when they were younger or something, and it may was not addressed, or it may was not taken for face value of what it actually was when you were seeing that odd behavior. And I mean, I know this is crazy, but chemicals and biology do play a role. But to me, the biggest thing is, like, during your spiritual warfare, some of these signs, some of these things lack faith. Some of these things lack a whole lot of, like, you just too much, like, instead of being in the world, you're becoming of it so much that, like, if you don't fit the perfect piece to be of this world, these diagnoses are easier to understand for your actions and your behaviors of, like, why you don't fit, instead of just, like, being in the world and not of the world. You know what I'm saying? Which you would have to have a very, like, high spirituality to be able to self-manage, because me personally, I was diagnosed with anxiety, and I wanted it so bad on my paperwork so I could get increasing time on my test. I could get medication to stop it. But when I got that medication, I felt like I was no longer myself. I felt like a drug addict. Like, it was just like, I can think something was funny deep inside, but, like, I wouldn't laugh. like I would just be just, like, very nonchalant. It just took so much. It's like I felt this chemical taking me so far away from who I was meant to be and what I was meant to be. So I literally chose to opt out of medication. And not saying I still don't have anxious moments, but I think the only thing that probably helped me most manage it is, like faith, like getting getting in tune with my spirituality and being able to just like identify what the Holy Spirit, like how it fulfills me and what that looks like. And I know this is going in a completely different direction, but I think it goes to say that like we can blame social media, but if you look at a lot of like kids and stuff, they are so far from a spiritual being. Like
Yeah.
even a kid brought up in a household that goes to church, they still be so far away from like truly developing their own faith. It's just be like something to do now, you know? So I think a component of this diagnosis is not just like, I don't think this diagnosis thing is like, oh, social media, this, that, and that. Like, no, I think it's us identifying you can either choose to be of this world or you could choose to be in this world. And that's two different things. And that's you knowing who you are and whose you are. And that, I think that's just a different type of concept. If you don't know that as a parent, there's no way you can help a child see that.
Yeah, I definitely think it a lot of it is environment too. Like if you don't have a supportive environment or people to pour into you, because I got ADHD and mom would not let me get on medicine.
Did she say why?
That's a good question, Mom. Answer that.
I never knew
But
you had like I think she talked about it recently, like how you were antsy. But I didn't know. I'm not sure where it showed up, but I didn't know that. I didn't know you were like an antsy kid. You know what I mean?
Key, look at Key looking.
Why you look like that, Kia?
The anti kid is still inside of me. Now, instead of stimming like Key used to say I do, where I do my hands, now I like my thoughts. I have to be conscious of when I'm talking to people because Cardi B said it before. She said she be having her own conversations in her head. And so like sometimes like you can say something to me and I'm trying to process what you're saying.
No.
So
No,
the conversation, no, wait. So the
No.
conversation will keep going, but in my head, I'm like, okay, wait, but she just said this,
No,
and then
that ain't a good example.
That.
No, I'll tell you about a good example of like my spectrum moment was like these people trying to like they was new family members. They wasn't new family members, but they hadn't seen Maya since she was a baby. They was coming up like, hey, how you doing? While she was trying to feel something out. And so in the middle of it, these people being nice, hugging Maya's like, can y'all just give me one more? Like, it was so rude and dismissive when literally the problem was she was overstimulated.
No, that wasn't. It was not. No,
Yes,
it was not rude. That's
yes, it was like, yo, it was like, can y'all just give me one moment? Like, I just need the moment. It was just, I was like,
Dash, be for real. Was I rude with it? Cause I was still smiling, but I was
Yeah, I'm not sure if anybody would have said it was rude because you were smiling. So you said it with a smile. It wasn't as like intense and aggressive.
yes, it was.
So I just kind of felt like you was just like, I don't know. I just kind of looked like what, but I didn't. I don't know. Maybe I'm biased, but I didn't really see it as that.
It still brought attention to you. Like, it still brought attention to you. Like, that little freak out moment. That's what I'm saying. I feel like these diagnoses are in a lot of us. They're foundational things. But when it lacks discipline, it can't be controlled. Like, period.
Mom said when I realized she was ADHD, she was in high school or junior high. I noticed it at one of her cheer games and she could not be still. I felt it was too late. So at that point, it was nothing a good belt or tongue lashing couldn't take care of.
Oh my gosh.
I do remember her saying that, like, all you need is a good belt.
Oh wow. And then you stopped?
No, I just controlled it.
Oh.
Notice how every year in school, I used to get in trouble.
For
If it wasn't for talking, it was just doing something. Sometimes I was just being a meanie butt. But every year in school, I would get in trouble for the smallest thing. And when I look back on it, I'm like, I mean, why would I get in trouble for that? Shouldn't somebody have said, like, she can't help herself?
what was it?
It was just talking, or teachers would move me to the corner or a kid or something that I wouldn't typically talk to. Still, that didn't matter. But now how it shows up is sometimes I would think out loud. Like, I literally just did it today. Like, I would think my thoughts out loud, or I can't focus, or I have to have to-do lists because I will think about something or do something or say something, and then I will forget it in the next moment because my attention turned somewhere else. Dash, you got it too.
Yeah, Dash, you already talked about how you be on the spectrum, but I want to highlight something from your blog. You
Okay.
said we have a real mental health problem. We also have a real environmental toxicity problem. And somewhere in the middle, we have a cultural overcorrection. What do you mean by that?
Okay, so I mean that they're the things that I'm talking about are not mutually exclusive. It's not one thing or a couple things or whatever. I think this one is unnecessary. Yeah. It's actually it is we do have an issue with mental health, but we also have to be realistic that these things didn't just come out of nowhere, or people are not just this is your fault or whatever you pass down to your child or whatever. It's you're battling science as well, because there are literal toxins. They're called forever chemicals in our system. They are finding plastic in neuro and endocrine systems that keep people from being able to have children, in placentas. This stuff is actually changing the biology of human beings. So we're fighting against that too. And then the third one is the cultural part, is where, when the trendy part, where people get a word and then they overuse it. And then because people overuse it, it gets diminished and downplayed by another group of people who don't take it serious. And it's not exactly fair to the people who actually have an issue. But I think for kids like Maya, and she's sitting here saying as an adult, oh, somebody should have said, oh, she just has ADHD. I disagree, because if they had, you would have been bopping around talking to people and saying, I have ADHD, and excusing yourself and saying, that's the reason why I'm doing this, instead of learning, I do have this, so it's going to take a little bit more control for me to shut up, but this is what I have to do. That's the piece that we're not connecting. We're giving names and allowing kids to call themselves these names or say what it is. And that's great to feel like you have a tribe. It does feel freeing to be that's what it is. I have a name to it. But it does not help if you don't add the other part. And that's how to cope and how to behave. And that's what I don't think you needed, Maya, because you would have just ran with it. You would not have behaved.
But okay, so I know this is kind of a very sensitive topic, but when you brought up coping skills, I do think, honestly, the way they are doing Carmelo Anthony is wrong. And when you talked about this diagnosis thing, it wasn't it was a diagnosis or anything that could be attached to that situation, but I just think there was no thought process between action and what the action that he took. I understand being bullied, but to the point where you had to track me with a knife and you take a life, that is that's kind of like I had no thought about the consequences behind these actions. I just did it, and I feel like our jail system is about to be filled with this new population of people. Like they're not just bad people; they're people who lack. They're young people who lack the ability to have coping skills. They've been so coddled to cater to their emotions. Like I really just like think that people nowadays, like even like with the obesity population, you have to be careful about just like how you tell a person you gaining so much weight is killing you. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't even say that. Like that's too much. And I just think like coping skills is not just like a diagnostic thing. It's much bigger than a diagnosis. A diagnosis help us develop a crutch to make sense of it, but it's like basic skills that was once just a part of life and learning to overcome these things and who you are and these barriers. It's like to me that's beating the odds. That's beating the odds because the odds are against me is they think I'm hyper, they think I'm bad, they think I'm nervous, they know I got anxiety, they know these things, but yet I still tend to allow these things to be the reason why I can't excel, or this is the reason why I can't do this, or this is the reason why I can't come in large crowds, or I don't like to do this because of that. And it's like, at what point do we stop allowing a diagnosis to, that's just like somebody telling me, well, I got a below knee amputation. You got one more leg left. That
Yeah.
don't mean you can't walk.
Yeah, it's
Like
over awareness, low resilience every time. That's
yes,
exactly what I'm talking about. Like now that you know what you got, you using it as like, okay, I can't do nothing else. And when you get adults are doing that. So when you give that to a child who doesn't even have the words and hasn't yet learned the discipline and the tenacity to keep going or resourcefulness to say, all right, I still got this leg. Let me change up what I got to do to still use this leg and that kind of stuff. Like it's extremely damaging. But I want to correct you on something, Keon, and I hate to say this. We're not going to have a new population of people that are in jail because of this. Unfortunately, they are already there. There are plenty of documentaries. I have watched 3 of them, I think, that are indicative of what you're talking about. A lot of, and these people are on like death row, and they slowly help them get off of death row, but they're still in prison because our society either has like a mental health facility or a prison. We're not equipped to deal with this, quite frankly, because we don't even call people that are equipped to deal with manic episodes. We call police who overreact and are not trained properly for this type of behavior. But right now, there are plenty of documentaries that show some of these people were easily influenced. They were influenced. They actually was with somebody else when they did whatever crime. They got on drugs, which again, a drug user is different than a drug pusher, because a drug user, some of them are like, they're the victim, really. They did this and they wouldn't have but for this drug, but they're still in prison because they were on a drug. Now add that to highly influenceable, on a drug, and most of these people have like a really, really low IQ. And a lot of these people come from, some of them are like, my dad sold me to his friends, those kind of upbringings. What do you do for those people? Those people are already in jail. Those people are already serving
I feel like
life
those
sentences.
I feel like those people are already in jail. But like, think about the boy from the Julio Fulio case. Like the young generation, the YNs.
But
the YNs.
but again, that's also, I mean, I get having
They have
empathy
good
for
lives.
I get having empathy for them, but that is some of that to me is not. We're moving out of mental health into 2 things: decisions and learning the impacts of decisions. And I mean, from the fact that you even have a knife, if you know that your temper, you don't hold your temper or have emotional stability, not to mention the science of where a teenage boy's brain is, it's underdeveloped. They don't take that into capacity for anyone. Their decision making skills underdeveloped. So that's all already been a thing. We're talking about decision making and then parenting. So
And I think behavioral. I think decision making is like things behavioral have to be addressed early. Like
yeah,
even if and sometimes it's not a whooping. That's what I'm learn. That's what we've learned. That's what education should teach us.
yeah,
Is sometimes where back in the day you can beat somebody till they was blue, green, they still would be bad,
yeah,
and you couldn't understand why. It's because that wasn't the way to get through to their kid. But I do feel like every person has a unique way that you can get through to them,
yeah,
and it's up to you as a someone who love them, you as a person, as a friend, a parent. You have to figure out what is the connection or what is the way that I have to get to you, because I beating someone, that's what we done learned is not the appropriate way
yeah,
to heal or to help a person with decision making or help kids with decision making. But I do think I mean mental health have so many components to it, but I just feel like a core component to it is trauma, spiritual warfare, and honestly environment. But some of these people have had a beautiful life, beautiful environment, and
just
so
poor
the decisions.
decisions.
Yeah, and it's like life couldn't have been better for you. I don't know, unless it's something I didn't see. Life couldn't have been better for you.
Yeah.
So I don't. What is that now? Now what creates that type of product? Let's read the comments. We got some comments.
Angie said, there are two parts of mental health. Doctors can only supply you with meds. They help. You need to have a therapist to talk out these issues of what you're going through. Talking is very powerful. Carmelo's full story has not been told yet. That's true. Hold on. Granny Denise said, I wish you could have told my mom that. What do you mean? Do you care to elaborate? Like, are you saying because for everything that happened, y'all got a whooping? That's what you saying?
Because you can't beat I mean, like, I feel like it was one point of just a world where if a kid wasn't getting a beating, or even if a woman wasn't getting a beating, they'll stay in line, you know?
Yeah.
Like, at one point, that was a thing in order to get somebody to stay in line to beat them.
You know what's funny, though? It's funny that we've learned that, like, you know, some people say they came from slavery, and we've learned, like, you can't beat people. And then we said, you know, for women to stay in line, it was okay for men. It was widely accepted for men to beat their women. And we've learned not to do that, right? And for some reason, we still saying, but the children, they ripe for beatings. Like, I don't know. I mean, I was one of those kids. Maybe it would have been different if you did something else, but I think I was one of them kids that I needed a whooping. But I ain't getting no beating. That's the difference. Like,
I think, like, you can find creative ways to whoop a kid. It's not, like, always going to be physical.
right.
Because if you don't find a way, there are times where me as an adult, I feel like life just whooped me, and all I can do is cry.
Yeah.
Like, it feels awful. And I feel like as an adult, to have that feeling and know what that feels like, when you raising a human, you have to replicate what a bad day for a kid gonna look like. That's gonna be no toys,
Right.
no fun, nothing fun.
Right.
Everything can't go your way today. Like, that's gonna have to be a certain a unique path for your kid. Like, but it's gonna be a different type of discipline.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the difference is between today and then. It's like, since we know better, punishment shouldn't just be like, oh, you off your phone, you in your room. Like, no, now you got to sit and talk to me and tell me about your day.
Yeah.
You can't. The game is off.
Yeah.
You gotta
Depending
actually
on
use your words.
Yeah, your child is interested in and what will get their attention.
Actually, you need to know what they're not interested in. Like, because for some odd reason, kids have a hard time talking. Like, I honestly hate doing evaluation with like kids, and their parents a helicopter, and I'm like, okay, right now this session is for me to get to know the patient. So in order for us to be able to work with each other, I'm going to have to develop a rapport with this kid. So I need her to tell me about her pain. A parent will sit in the eval and be like, well, she's always, you got this, she's out. Well, if she old enough to text and be on social media and post pictures, why can't she have a professional conversation about how she's feeling to a healthcare professional? Mm-hmm. Like, I just feel like parents just overstep and they come in like, well, it's been hurting them for months. Then when you get the kid along, it stopped hurting me after a week ago. Okay, well, tell me more. Can you do push-ups?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can do push-ups. It's two different. It's just like now we're coddling our kids because of the world's so scary now, and it's so creepy, and it's like we're coddling them to a point where we're helping them develop mental health terms. We're allowing us to speak for them. We're helping them develop these and social anxieties, and now they can't go out and be a good server because they standing like this or they don't speak up. And it's like, for you to ask someone to speak up, or like, for you to ask them to enunciate their words or excuse me, that's rude. Yeah. And it's like, like, how is that rude?
Yeah. But I think, a lot of kids, kids are, you see those movies, kids are, the older they get, less vocal and communicative anyway. But it's, I hate to take it back to the phones and stuff, but like, when they don't really have to communicate orally and they can just laugh out loud, like that, it also creates almost a delay in communication ability. Granny Denise said, yeah, the whoopings were a punishment if we did something that we really didn't do. And Auntie said, I agree. Whoopings are sometimes what a child expects, and it doesn't faze the person. They keep doing the same thing. You need to find out what and why they keep doing the same thing. Dion said, facts, Keon. They will literally look at their parent and wait for them to talk for them. Man. Jazz said, imagine a Starbucks full of kids. I have to teach professional verbiage daily. Oh, man.
She said she managed. But that is so true. We're losing.
I manage.
We're no longer keep teaching character at home, and that's the problem. Like, character is not being built in the house. It's being built on the internet.
Yeah.
And it's like, when you do come, it's like, oh, they just shy. They got social anxiety.
Yeah.
Or, she's diagnosed with this, and it's like, at what point do that stop being like? I remember people having diagnoses like in the 90s, and it's like we would pretend like they didn't even exist.
Yeah.
Like we're that intertwined. They're in the room being completely reckless.
Yeah.
But they in the room with all the kids. They're forced to be in a room with all the kids, whether they in a wheelchair or on a walker. They back there with normal kids, and they're not being separated. I don't know. I just feel like we're just losing care in this world. We're losing like authenticity and characteristic traits, and we losing it to the internet. And anybody that has those values or has those things are considered to be part of the harsher part of the world. Like, you're the harsh reality that nobody wants to hear.
Jazz said, bring back the Easter speeches. Yeah, now nobody wants to embarrass their kids because it might give them trauma and make them stand up there and remember a speech or learn something. I mean, some of these people barely, because they were forced to go to church. Now they're like, I feel like this is what happens. You were forced to do something, or you were hit out of anger rather than out of instruction. And now you are correcting something, and anytime you correct, you overcorrect the behavior. So instead of, because you were forced to go to church so much, instead of telling your child, I'm not, they overcorrect by saying, I'm not gonna make you go to church because I was made to go to church and I hated it. Instead of doing that, they, can do something different, like, okay, every other, once a week, once a month, or 2 times out of the month, or something like that. Now you got to go to church, or something like that, like a balance. We kind of overcorrect and do something completely different. And I feel like that's what's happening now. Miss Tripp said kids today aren't taught how to cope. Diagnosis becomes a crutch, an excuse to act however. Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. Like, that's the problem. I'm not trying to downplay these mental health issues are real, but we're giving kids the name and we're not giving them the rest of the story. And that's unfair to the kid and to everybody. Honestly, they got to deal with that. She said a device is put in a hand and used to quiet or occupy the kid instead of making them face things. Man, I saw a documentary that said, like, maybe they were being dramatic, but they were like, you might as well get a kid crack. Because
what?
You might as well get a kid crack. Because the white matter in their brain, it's like, literally, they lose more white matter the more those screens they see at that early age, like between 1 and 5. That's what I said.
And the loss of white matter creates some serious neurological issues.
Yep.
Once you become old and start deteriorate. The loss of white matter is important.
Yeah, and they losing it early as kids because of the screen.
Yes. Jazz said, unless responsibility isn't helping, I know way too many kids of my peers that don't have chores. Yes, like, they don't have chores. They get to wear Balenciagas to school. They get Bottegas. They get, they designer down.
Rewards and no effort.
It's constant reward, no effort. If you are to challenge them in any way, even as a coach, like me personally, I can't work in the school systems. I'm not really interested in working with children. Like, I'm just not with today's kids in the way they are, like, at all. That it's like if you put any pressure, and it's adults like this too. You put any pressure on them to be more than you are in this moment, and it's too much.
Yeah.
It's too much. You're not respecting boundaries. You're not respecting the person. And it's just like, oh, at what point are we strong enough to overcome our traumas and be not the diagnosis? I encourage everybody with a diagnosis, if you got diabetes, remind yourself every day you don't got diabetes and watch how strong your brain get at beating diabetes.
Yeah,
plasticity. I just feel like, we just create this environmental, since I talked to a therapist, I found out that I got this, or I lost this, so I lost this person, and since then I got that. And it's like, bro, at what point do we get to be just a great person because of that? Like, at what point do we flip the script and I'm this because of that? I'm amazing because of this. I went through this because of that. Like, where is the grind? Like, where is the hustle?
Yeah. Auntie said, having to go to church didn't bother me, but I couldn't wait until Mama stopped making me go to Sunday school. I still won't go. No, for real. Because after Sunday school, it's time to go home, ain't it? What you mean we going upstairs to do the rest? Just said, wedding style birthday parties. No, for real.
And these proms.
Yes, $500 dresses. Like, it's all the things. Miss Tripp said they don't have to work for anything anymore. They feel entitled and that you have to do for them. But I think a lot of that is like, that's the parenting though. So, I mean, if they're a certain age, you almost can't blame these kids. I don't know what you do with them, but besides teach them the lesson that their parents never taught them. But these parents are not equipping kids with, I feel like I was talking to somebody who has a young child, and she was talking about what she chose to do in this situation. And she sounded, from what she said, it made sense. It did. It didn't sound crazy. And she sounded like she probably thought that's a pretty good approach. I'm doing this right. I need to build her up and blah, blah, blah. And I need to help her. And that's okay. But I had to remind her that you're not raising a 6-year-old. You're raising a 16, 26, 36-year-old. She's a tiny human being. Okay, so when you're not there to build her up, what tools have you given her so that she builds herself up, so she can hear you in her head to say, okay, let me work through what I'm feeling. This isn't actually what they said. This is what's happening. And I'm applying it or projecting it a different kind of way. And how do I work around that? Like, that's your job to give her those tools. Right now, you're trying to coddle the 6-year-old, but what that teaches is that to the 16-year-old and the 26-year-old too. And she was like, I never thought about that. That makes sense. Because I just was like reminding her, like, prepare her for the person she's going to be, not the tiny human being that she is. And it just, you can just kind of see like a light bulb moment go off. And I don't think a lot of people think of it like that, because we treat kids like they're just so fragile, and we don't prepare them. And to me, it doesn't make sense. It's like baby talking a 1-year-old and then wondering why they speech is poor when they turn 2. Like, you've been baby talking them for the last 2 years. Like, you have to prepare them for the next part, not for where they are. And so I think we do that like every step of the way with kids. And it doesn't end with, it just gets worse when they have diagnoses and all these other things. And Jazz said, my 13-year-old had to sit this summer out. She been cleaning up without being asked. Only TV show she can watch is Everybody Hates Chris. Now I'm getting act right. Right. And no devices. Okay, read a book. Give me comprehension. What did you learn from that book? Auntie said, I did that with diabetes, Keon. I got tired of the shots. I stopped taking them. Either I was misdiagnosed or what. I never had an issue, and I'm checked every 3 months. Wow. That's wild.
I'm trying to tell you, the brain is powerful. If you tell yourself you special or you got this, like, you gonna have it, and it's gonna start showing. Everybody gonna start to see, oh, you really do got it, or this really is wrong with you. But you can really trick your brain into not being in pain no more. You can trick your brain into not being anxious no more. Like, it's really just a fight within self. And as much as medicine make us feel good, it never takes away the problem. I don't care what nobody.
Yeah. And I think the other thing, no ego. The topic is overuse of the mental health terms, like not overusing it and then not preparing kids for like conflict resolution. So I think the other thing is, like, the end of my blog was also just kind of like a information for parents, because I wanted them to know, it's hard when you are battling this and you're trying to figure out, and I wanted them to understand that there are laws that are, depending on what's wrong with your child, that are supposed to protect your child, especially in school. But as a parent, you don't have the credentials for environmental science or biological science, pediatric, neuro, nutrition, and psych. But however, unfortunately, all of those things are what you're battling in your child. Because environment, and I don't just mean in your home, I mean like environment as in like the toxic levels, the toxicity, and you know how they refuse to change things and how they make it easy to buy and marketing a bag of chips versus, you know, other things that are healthier. And all of that is being battled with the limited information that you have just by being a parent. And that's difficult, and that's not necessarily your fault, and it's not always something that you did. There are way more things at play than you may realize that's going on with your child.
Yeah. Even like things like we choosing to utilize like GLP shots and Ozempic and stuff to like for weight loss control. Like, bro, it's so new that you're like signing up to be a part of a trial. Like you're signing up to be a part of a test. Like the federal government put those things out with intention. And if you look up any study, the poorest health literacy is in black and brown communities, black people and Mexicans. Like we have the poorest health literacy, meaning we are not as smart in the medical profession where we are the ones who are the first in line to sign up for these things. And they are things that are utilized to that's appealing and attractive. If you think about the gastric sleeve, when it first came out, a lot of people died behind the gastric sleeve as well, with multi-system failures and pretty much just a different medical issues or negative effects post gastric sleeve, and it affected our communities the most. And so, to me, when you decide to hear a diagnosis, you have one or two things to do with the medication. You can use it to get better for this amount of time and then figure out a way how to self-manage. If there's no way to self-manage with some diagnosis that's neurological, there's no way, so you have to rely on medicine. Those medicines typically have been around for a while and they're global. But it's like high blood pressure medicine sometimes can cause more swelling in the black community, and you don't realize that now you develop high blood pressure, which eventually develop to elephantitis, and you got swelling, uncontrollable swelling in your legs after you got on this type of medicine. The doctor changed it. Now you're on metformin. Now your kidneys failing. Like, it's a ripple effect of what medication just does over time. And I just think like we should be conscious. We should be health conscious and aware that like it's a bigger purpose behind it all, and self-control is the best control.
Oh, Keon, that was a word. That was helpful. But I got a question for you.
Because y'all don't see, you look, we just looking at normal.
What? You don't see
We
me?
just see normal. No, we see like a backdrop like you in, I think you're in Alaska in the living room.
Okay, so I want to ask you something, because Miss Tripp said a lot of those medicines aren't meant for us. Right. I learned in the medical field that a lot of those medicines, like the ones you're like, oh, some of these have been around for a long time, especially those, they were not even tested on women because they cost too much. They were only tested on men. So they impact us like hormonally in our endocrine system so different and adversely, really. But they didn't want to spend the dollars on testing them on us because of the difference in our systems. And to this day, they still haven't.
And we're still using them same medications. It's literally stuff like aspirin, Ambien.
That's crazy. That's
Yeah,
wild.
like those are medications that definitely was not tested on women. It was mainly used like on men to prevent heart attacks. Aspirin was.
That's wild. That's scary. Man.
I mean,
She muted.
research. That means they don't have any type of research that supports that. Like, one thing about research and even like medicine and any practice with statistics and understanding research is anything that's has a p-value of 0.5 or more shows it was beneficial to this population. But there's multiple components that go into a research beyond a hypothesis. Everybody was taught a hypothesis in the 5th grade. That's an educated guess. Every time you go to the doctor, we are taught to create an educated guess. Like, you was taught that in the 5th grade. That's basic knowledge. Come to the drawing board with an educated guess. From that drawing board, you develop a conclusion. Like, these
So
are
you essentially become the
grade
guinea pig every time.
every time. I just did it all day today. Like, like I don't. You read stuff and you learn stuff that works, so that's what you utilize. But in the process, new stuff is coming out, and you're trying to learn it and utilize it too. But when something in us feels like it's not right, some stuff you just need to take to the prayer board. It's not right. This medicine isn't right. For example, sometimes I feel like people prematurely address fibroids so early. Like I would think you need to address it closer to menopause because there's a possibility that the fibroids can come back and they can come back more aggressive. So really going in and cutting on me and doing all that, and I'm 20 years old and I got a whole nother 20 some years left before I hit menopause. Like, you should have just left that alone and just thugged it out. I mean, I understand people's symptoms are worse, but I would just say, like, there's so many diet change and there's so much about this what we ingest in our diet that is really like beneficial to understand so that we could treat our bodies better and just stop accepting what the world is offering to us. But also just knowing your limits, because I don't care if you got a doctor with 50 initials behind his name and he done saved Jamie Foxx and Whitney Houston. I do not care. You should look at that person, and if you haven't gotten a chance to know them enough to feel like you trust their opinion, treat it everything is iffy. Give it 3 months. Nothing is measured under 3 months. Give it 3 months, and in 3 months, if things don't look well, end it. Like, stop. Don't try to go change. Don't try to, end it. Just end it.
Like, when you say end it, you mean like if you're taking something in that or in the relationship with the doctor?
Oh, that means seek another opinion. Like, quit. Don't become so dependent, like hoping it's going to change. You had 3 months to see change.
Okay.
And it did not occur.
Okay.
Like, I just think you should always challenge the person who is, people can be arrogant, but challenge me because I'm confident in what I'm teaching. Mm-hmm. If they're confident, they shouldn't mind like telling you how to help you be the self-manager of your symptoms. Mm-hmm. That's usually my preaching is I'm not here to heal you. I can make you feel better, but I'm here to honestly teach you how to self-manage and let you know what you have going on. Like, you want an educator, educate me. Take the time to let me know what's going on with me. But to just rely on a doctor's opinion, I just feel like it's just like a big trust fall. And then you get this big bill in the mail. You spent 10 minutes with somebody just for them to be wrong. Yeah. That happens more often than you realize.
Yeah. Man, and 10 minutes cost you $150.
Yeah, and like somebody on metformin for a long time, and they just had like an A1C that was off one time, and the doctor like, oh, your levels are off, and they put you on metformin, and now you're on metformin. You could develop chronic kidney disease, and you never had to be on metformin. All the doctor had to do was be real with you and say, you need to eat better, you need to choose a better diet. What you're ingesting is affecting you. You should pay attention to your carbs. Just take the time to let a person know how you develop diabetes. Like, type 2 is a reversible diabetes. Type 1, that's something you can't help. But type 2, like, all you gotta do is take the time to educate a person, not here, take this and it's gonna help your levels. Like, I just don't find that like ethical, and I feel like that happens to a lot of like family members, and you see people in your community that's just receiving it, and before you know it, they're like, oh yeah, I got high blood pressure and diabetes. Now they couple together.
Mm-hmm.
And you hear the medication, and it's literally a consistency of the same medications. Like, I'm no pharmacist, but I can, if you tell me you got them 2 diagnoses, I can guarantee I can name out your 2 medications that you dependent on just to get through the day,
Yeah,
which is crazy.
man, that is crazy. Not to mention, I watched this documentary that was about it was about like people with diabetes, and how if you go to like the American Heart Association, like they talk about people with diabetes and they tell you to eat like meat and veggies and stuff like that. And then they like looked into it and was like, why are you telling people to look into meat when it causes this, this, and this? And it's actually not good for them. And if they actually focus on veggies and a different way to get protein, like cottage cheese and things like that, why are you not pushing different ways to get protein? And then they dug deeper and found out that the meat that they're promoting, like Purdue Pharma and like these chicken plants and stuff, like, you know, the big names, they actually gave money to American Heart Association. So they were like, what, ain't that a conflict of interest? Because now I feel like you're not actually telling me that meat is good for me. You're telling me what they tell you to say so that they can keep getting paid or whatever. So anyway, that's why I watch documentaries, because they kind of, I mean, they be like real studies, you know. So I highly recommend.
It'd be real facts. Like, it'd
Yeah.
be some real facts
Yeah.
behind what's been said. And
Like,
even
what the
like
health.
when you look at COVID and you look at the people behind the COVID vaccine, it's really concerning about what our government thought they was doing with COVID. It's very scary. Like, it's very scary to get into, but it's like, honestly, it's a spiritual warfare. You better stay prayed up, because they playing in our face daily.
No, they are. I mean, if you think about it, tobacco, they got to say for years it's not harming anybody until they were faced with cancer. First, it was the throat smoker's cough, and then it was like throat issues and cancer, and then it went to cancer, and then it was kind of undeniable. And it took them, they had to pay out like something like 80 something billion. I talk about it in the blog, and it took them like 25 years to pay it out. That's what they ended up settling on. But the crazy thing is, the government never said, now you have to stop selling this product. Mm-hmm. So they got a slap on the wrist, because what they paid, yeah, they lost some money, but they made it back. And then some. They back on top like they never lost. And then fentanyl took the same playbook and said for years, oh, no, it's not that addictive. It's like equivalent to XYZ. And they had doctors who really cared about their patients in small communities. They gave this stuff out and would see their patients turn into a different person. Some of them were doctors who actually took it themselves and ended up losing their practice because now they're on drugs. And they got to say this for a while, and then for years, and then it started to be undeniable that, okay, no, this is, now it's out now that it's like 50 times more potent than heroin, and they still haven't been forced to stop making the opioids. And then the chemicals and the plastic plants did the same thing. Years ago, they came out with that pan that they marketed to mothers in the kitchen. This is great, non-stick. Turns out they had to pay a lawsuit because it was deforming children. And they, for years, didn't admit to it, you know. But eventually they did. I mean, it's just like the same playbook every time. And the government is just like, yes, okay, we've signed off on that. So now when I see stuff that says FDA approved, quite frankly, it's a joke. I don't care about what FDA approved. You give them enough money, they'll approve your shoes as a new food. So.
Right. But even like how back in like the 1980s when they were saying like how the government put drugs into black communities and basically was working with like it's all population control. That's why I feel like mental health diagnosis they do help explain a lot of things. It's just like but to me it's no similar than astrology. Like it's a bunch of similarities in these people and it's like, oh, we are just alike. We're Virgos together. And I feel like mental health sometimes can develop that same characteristic. And it's like, bro, like, was you really thinking about anxiety in like the 90s?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
was you really thinking about ADHD, social anxiety? Like, no, you was not thinking about that stuff.
Yeah. Miss Tripp over here preaching. No info on helping you get better naturally. Just here, take this med. Red meat, and she said, I've seen it. Red meat actually makes the heart disease and diseases worse. It does. They had a study on that too. And Marie said, so true. This happened with me. No longer on metformin. Changed my diet. A1C is now 5.1.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, she's still, like she said, where did Keon go? She's still on here. Anyway, y'all, yeah, that was a good chat. It's like 8:40 now, so I'm going to go ahead and end it. We've had our hour. I'm trying not to go over because we've been going over to like an hour and a half to 2 hours sometimes, especially them hot topics that y'all be getting upset about. So next week is, we're talking about you are not your environment, or are you? And we're exploring, are there things that you do now that you say, I've always done it this way, I was raised on it this way, but you haven't evaluated, is it actually beneficial for me, or am I just doing this? Why and how do you explore that and make those changes? So that's the topic for next week. I'll see y'all next Monday at 7:30. And Miss Tripp said, as they advertise yogurt and the Susan lady, it makes breast cancer increase. No, for real. That yogurt is poor. Scan it. It's a bunch of additives in it. Lots
We
of
enjoyed you
chemicals.
too, ain't she? I had to stop and eat. I was starving and it's getting going on 10 o'clock. I can't eat past 10. Diabetes.
She East Coast.
Gotta make sure
she
your
on
A1C
the East Coast,
below
y'all.
5.7. Make sure your A1C below 5.7. It can go all the way to 6.4 before you're a true diabetic. Don't let them tell you your levels is high. Don't let them do that to you.
Thank
Y'all have a
y'all.
good week.